This is the Brownstone Center News Update for Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. Advanced Micro Devices announced Tuesday that it would make its key processor chips at TSMC's new Arizona site, the first time its products will be manufactured domestically. Meanwhile, NVIDIA unveiled plans Monday to build AI supercomputers entirely in the U.S. as part of a $500 billion plan to help develop America's AI infrastructure. NVIDIA's plan involves building supercomputer manufacturing facilities with Foxconn in Houston and Wistron in Dallas, Texas. Blackwell chip production has started in Phoenix. Tariffs on imported chips are expected very soon. From Wall Street to Main Street, the economic outlook is deteriorating. Expectations among consumers that the unemployment rate will be higher a year from now surged to the highest level since the start of the pandemic, according to the New York Fed's monthly survey. Respondents also see a pickup in inflation while pessimism about the stock market grew. Meanwhile, a survey of more than 300 CEOs showed 62% projecting a recession or economic downturn in the next 6 months. A group of small businesses have filed a lawsuit opposing new U.S. tariffs, challenging President Trump's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose trade levies. The suit, filed in the U.S. Court of International Trade, questions the White House's rationale for the tariffs, claiming trade deficits, which have persisted for decades without causing economic harm, are not an emergency. The plaintiffs include a wine distributor, a cycling apparel brand, and a plumbing supply company. As the United States trade policy continues to undergo sudden changes and reversals, U.S. importers find themselves in limbo as they attempt to plan for the future. Companies that had already diversified from Chinese productions now find their new manufacturing hubs under threat, while uncertainty under future policy is discouraging businesses from beginning the long process of moving their factories stateside. Supply chains require long-term planning that is nearly impossible in the current environment, one logistics executive notes. The U.S. Department of Education has frozen $2.2 billion in grants and contracts to Harvard University after it rejected demands from President Trump's administration to eliminate diversity policies and adopt stricter campus regulations. The administration accused Harvard of failing to combat anti Semitism and allowing left leaning activism to overtake academic priorities. President Alan Garber pushed back, calling the federal demands unconstitutional and a threat to academic freedom. New federal requirements, including banning race-based admissions, auditing faculty for viewpoint diversity, and monitoring international students, Harvard refused, saying the measures violate First Amendment rights. This is part of a wider federal crackdown, which has also impacted Columbia University and led to canceled visas and deportation proceedings for students involved in pro-Palestinian protests. To offset the funding loss, Harvard is seeking $750 million in private loans. People trying to intimidate federal judges have had pizzas delivered to their homes using the name of the murdered son of a federal judge from New Jersey. In an appearance on NBC News, Judge Esther Salas said she and some colleagues, as well as their adult children, have received the pizzas following comments by President Donald Trump heavily criticizing members of the judiciary. The receipts indicated they were ordered by her deceased son, Daniel Anderl. Anderl was shot to death at the judge's North Brunswick home in 2020 by a man who was a self-described anti-feminist lawyer. In a case before Salas, Salas's husband, Mark, was shot and wounded during the attack. Lawmakers are pushing to meet with Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele while he's in Washington, amid broader efforts to secure the return of a Maryland man wrongfully deported to a prison in the Central American nation. Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland sent a letter to El Salvador's ambassador to the U.S. seeking to arrange a meeting with Bukele, floating plans to visit the prison directly if Kilmar Obrego Garcia is not shortly returned. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia never should have been abducted illegally and illegally deported, and the courts have made that clear. The administration must bring him home now. However, since the Trump administration appears to be ignoring those mandates, we need to take additional action, according to the senator. If Kilmar is not home by next week, he states he plans to travel to El Salvador this week to check on his condition and discuss his release. For more news and information that you can use, head over to BrownstoneWorldwide.com, as well for daily deals and coupons, Cityscape Radio to listen to throughout your workday, and Brownstone Living magazine. Your free digital issue is available. We'll see you around.